everyone, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs, and today we're doing a little video about the signs and symptoms of spiritual awakening, because I'm pretty sure that if you're going through spiritual awakening you will be dealing with a whole host of weird and wonderful different signs and symptoms, and it can be really quite unnerving when you're going through that process. So we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to break it down and help you to understand why that happens and what you can do about it, and the approach that we have won't be what you're expecting. It's a completely new sort of approach that we've developed over time, and I think you'll find it really hugely helpful. Okay, so if you don't know me, I'm Kelly Ashley from Spiritual Awakening Signs, and I help people like you who are going through the awakening process to reduce those challenging signs and symptoms and make the whole process much easier, starting with that video today. So first of all, let's talk about some of the signs and symptoms that you might be facing in your spiritual awakening. Now, there can be so many different signs and symptoms, and I actually don't think it's always very helpful to put us in a box in that particular sense, but the symptoms that I'm going to list have sort of an umbrella effect to them. So you can usually fit whatever sign or symptom you're having that's a little bit unique into one of the following. So that should make it a little bit easier. And if you're not sure, then put a little comment below, let me know, and I'll do what I can to help you, because that's what I'm here for. Okay, so one of the first symptoms that you'll notice when you go through spiritual awakening is intense emotions. And by that we mean emotional overwhelm. You might even have emotional meltdowns. And this could be a completely new thing to you. You might never have experienced that before. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing wrong with you. And when I explain how the spiritual awakening process works, I think you'll be comforted and reassured that what's happening, it doesn't mean you're crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just part of that process until we get it calmed down, okay? The next thing that you're going to get a lot of is anxiety and probably overwhelm. So all of a sudden, normal daily tasks might start to feel like too much. Interacting with other people socially, connecting with people, leaving your home, going out and being sort of that extroverted energy will become much more challenging, and you probably will find that you have more fear and anxiety present than usual or than ever before. Okay. Another sign or symptom that you'll probably experience is imbalanced psychic and intuitive abilities. Now, most people won't really cover this. Most people will tell you that your consciousness will expand and you'll be, much more tuned in, and your psychic senses will be fantastic. And that can be the case, but for most people what you find is it's imbalanced. So it's either completely underactive, some people can't get access to it at all, or it's overactive, meaning there are no spiritual or energetic boundaries in place, and you're getting an influx of information that maybe you don't understand, maybe it's intrusive, maybe it's even a little bit scary. There's an imbalance there, okay? Another sign or symptom that we get naturally is we start to feel really lost and confused. That inner compass that we have that usually guides us where we're going, suddenly we have no sense of direction. Suddenly we don't know what to do, we don't know how to move forward, we don't know what we're going to do or if everything's going to be okay. You suddenly lose that sense of inner stability. That really, really leaves you when you go through awakening. And again, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not that you've got particular emotional issues or problems that lead that way. It's just part of the awakening process, and I'm going to explain it all in a moment. Another sign or symptom that you'll get is crippling empathy. Now, by that I mean empathy that makes it painful to maybe watch the news or to even watch a movie sometimes if it's about something emotional or something sad, something tragic or upsetting. That can really throw you off. And what you'll find is your empathy will increase so much that you might pick up on other people's stuff. You might pick up on other people's health complaints or their emotional issues or their moods. You start becoming a bit of a sponge energetically for what's going on around about you. You'll become highly sensitive, which kind of goes hand in hand with the empathy. So you might find that you are more emotionally volatile than before, or that the smallest thing can tip your moods or your emotion, your energetic state, and you just don't feel right after that. It just, something doesn't quite feel right. And the last sign that you're going to find that is really, really common in awakening is life instability. And by life instability, I mean that after the awakening process occurs, you just can't really get it together. So some people, it's different for everyone. Some people, they find that the basics of life suddenly just erode, and it's really difficult to maintain a home or a balanced home life or finances or their job. Those things can be really difficult, but it can also be life instability, just in that you just can't get it together. And no matter what you try to do, things never really get a chance to level out. And that's what's so difficult about spiritual awakening. And I can see 2 people have joined us so far. Thank you so much for joining us live. And I'm delighted to see you guys. And if you have any questions, do let us know. So let's get into what you would like to experience, okay? Because those signs and symptoms are really, really challenging to deal with. They make your awakening a very difficult thing. And I think that it can be quite misleading for us, because we move into spiritual awakening with this idea that it's going to be this consciousness expanding thing, that life is going to get better, not worse. And when we start to recognise that it's not better, and it's not any better than life was before, if in fact life's falling apart a bit, we start to go inward, we start to wonder what's wrong with us. So there are things that you can experience that are positive in your spiritual awakening. You can spiritually awaken. You can continually grow on your spiritual awakening path, and you can do it without drama. That is an absolute fact. You can do it without drama, but there are some things that you need to put in place to be able to do that, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit of that today. So let's talk a little bit about what you would rather experience. So when you really put the right things in place in spiritual awakening, you can reduce your anxiety and your overwhelm. You can have balanced, functional, psychic senses and intuitive senses that are trustworthy, because that's the key. It needs to be, you're getting information and it's trustworthy and it's clear. You can have clarity of mind, so that you feel connected, so that you feel you can be guided forward. So you don't need to wonder what the next step is. It starts to unfold for you. You get signs, you get messages, you know you're on the right track. Also, the other thing that you will want to experience is reducing those emotional meltdowns, really taking that emotional turmoil down to a more grounded level, so that you feel okay within yourself, you feel sane within yourself, because spiritual awakening really will take you to the limits. It can have times in it that are pretty scary, and I certainly went through those moments myself. So you'll want to get to that place where things are calmer. You'll want to have a calmed sensitivity, so you're not picking up everybody's stuff around you, you're not just absorbing what's going on round about, and you want to have a normal, stable, healthy life. That can still be a normal, stable, healthy life with spiritual awakening in place. That can be a normal, stable, healthy life where you are still growing, you're still expanding your consciousness, good things are happening, and you're aligning with your highest purpose, timeline, your soul mission, whatever it is that you're here to do. That absolutely can happen. But let's talk a little bit about why you're experiencing really difficult awakening signs and symptoms, because there is a reason. Okay, this isn't something that has to be this way. I tell my clients that all the time. It doesn't need to be full of drama, absolutely not. Okay, but if that's where you've been and that's what it's been so far, I understand that takes a little minute to be able to accept that it can be anything other than that, but it absolutely can be. Okay, I've managed to get my awakening balanced, and it's been like that for about 10 years now, so it can be done. Okay, so what you're currently experiencing is signs and symptoms that are completely intense, they're out of control. That is as a result of the spiritual awakening high frequency energies. Okay, so let me break this down a little bit, because when you can understand the process, the symptoms make complete sense. It takes all the confusion and anxiety right out of it. Okay, so what happens is, when we go through the spiritual awakening process, there is a sort of catalyst moment. So there's an influx of high frequency, very high vibrational white light that moves into the soul's energy, moves into the physical body, moves into your energetic system, and it's to activate your soul's energy. Okay, this is awakening process is going to begin. We're just going to give you a little blast, a little zap of those high frequency energies. We're going to raise your vibration just to help you kind of kickstart the process and get you aligned. And then what happens is, it raises your vibration so much higher than you've ever been before. So you tend to find the body really struggles with it, but what you find is that your gifts and abilities are usually completely amplified. So they might be better, they might be stronger than they ever were before. Synchronicities and signs start to become So common, it's unbelievable. You will see and experience things where you're like, did anyone else just see that? That's really crazy, because you're in such a high frequency vibration because of these awakening energies that are moving into your space. Now, the challenge with this is that when that high frequency energy moves into your space, it opens all the chakras, every single one, all at one time. Okay, so this central column where your chakras are aligned opens, and all of a sudden all the content that was blocking those chakras arises to the surface at once. So this is where we get into the area of what I would consider soul shock from the awakening process. Everything comes up at once. You feel like a complete mess. You can't put yourself back together. Some people have breakdowns. It can really be that bad. You don't understand what's happened to you, why you're so emotional, why you're so anxious, why you're so wired. It's because you're absolutely overcharged and overstimulated in your energies by these high frequency energies, and everything has been opened and cleared. So this channel is meant to connect you to source. It's meant to make sure that there's no blocks in the way. But when it does that and all this content comes up through the chakras, all the blocks come up at once, you get completely overwhelmed. You're dealing with content from this life, past life, inner child, genetic, you name it. You're dealing with everything coming up at once. So it's no wonder people feel like they're falling apart. It's no wonder people feel like they can't cope when that happens. You know, it's a really, really overwhelming experience. So all that information comes up. It's meant to be processed so that you can say, hey, let's look at that. You know, do I need it? Is it relevant? Throw it away. Get rid of anything that's not really, truly part of your soul. Get rid of anything that's not the wisdom. All the pain, all the misalignment, all the negativity, all the beliefs that you may have built over the entire time of your timeline as a soul, all the different lessons you've learned, all the lifetimes that you've lived. That is a lot of content to come up at once. Can you imagine what that does to the human mind, trying to deal with all that content? And you might not be aware that that's what it is. It just feels overwhelming, or it feels like you're completely anxious, or you don't really understand what it is. You just know something's not right. Doesn't matter if you don't know what it is. That's the content that's coming up for you, and that's why it's so difficult. Okay? So when that happens, we spiral out of control. Of course we do. Because the body can't cope with that high frequency energy, and your energy becomes completely overwhelmed by the intensity of the process. Is this making sense? Do let me know below, guys, if this is resonating, if it's starting to make things click. If you need anything clarified, let me know. So let's get into the counterintuitive approach that I'm going to suggest for you to fix the problem. Now, most people think that in order for you to spiritually awaken, you need to raise your vibration higher. Okay? That's the common advice that we get. That's what everyone says. They start suggesting that we use incense and essential oils and yoga and, you know, crystals and all these different lovely spiritual things that I love too. But it's suggested that we use all these different things to raise our frequency, as if our frequency needs to be raised even higher, and it doesn't. It doesn't, okay? The awakening energies have already raised your frequency to a level that your body, your mind, and your energy is struggling with. If it wasn't struggling, you wouldn't be having difficult signs and symptoms. You wouldn't be struggling to cope with the process. It's letting you know that it's too much for the body. And unfortunately, when we start adding all these extra things in, we think, I need to raise my vibration higher. I better use some crystals. I better do some meditation. Maybe I should do some yoga. You know, maybe I should burn some incense. And all these things are like a million extra little charges in your energy system, and that is what actually takes you to a level where you cannot get grounded, where you cannot anchor your energies down to the 3D. It can make it very difficult to tolerate 3D life, any aspect of 3D life, and it can make it really, really difficult to deal with the process, because all you're going to get is a really unstable energy that's throwing up things to be healed and cleared and all these different things all the time. So you need to really understand what that does when you bring that into your energy. It's very, very important. So your vibration is already raised far higher than it's ever been before, far more than it ever needs to be. Okay, this is what causes the problem. So what you need to do instead of raising higher, you need to ground your energies. Okay, you are already high frequency personified if you're going through this process. You need to ground your energies. That's so important. You need to anchor the body in order to reduce those awakening symptoms and really release the overwhelm, all the anxiety. When you do that, that's going to make spiritual awakening so much more manageable. The symptoms that you're getting are going to ease and calm. The emotions and the intensity of those emotions is going to start to calm down. The frequency that problems and issues and challenges are coming up is going to slow, because you're stopping the energy from just blasting up through the chakras, bringing up all sorts of different debris. Okay, you're just taking control of the process so that it's at a level that you can cope with. And that's the most important thing. So you want to be avoiding avoiding the things that are going to stimulate your energy. And right now that's going to be things like incense, essential oils, crystals, yoga, any sort of energy stimulant, any sort of energy healing work, anything like that is going to be too stimulating for your energy. And I also include with that, because I really want you guys to be careful, is anything that says grounding on the label. Because a lot of people think, but I'm using crystals and it says that it's a grounding energy. No, it's your energies are different now. You've gone through the awakening process, you've become something different. Your energies are high frequency and incredibly volatile. Any sort of energy stimulant is only going to stimulate it further, which will increase the flow of energy, which will make you awaken even faster. And that's when you get to sort of crisis point level. That's where awakening can get a little bit scary, and I don't want that for you, okay? Because it doesn't need to be that way. It can absolutely be manageable, okay? Now, if you have any questions, let me know. But we teach all of this and more in my signature course, the Grounded Awakenings System. It's a 7-day energy healing course to help you to reduce those awakening symptoms and ground your energies. And it'll do it in just 7 days. That's no matter how long it's been, no matter how difficult it's been, no matter how intense it's been or how bad your situation has been. This is what's going to put those foundations in place. And the doors open in around 14 days. So if you want, you can get on that wait list. There's a link below that you can check out to let you know when we launch. And I hope to be supporting you in your spiritual awakening process very soon. Please check that link below and have a fantastic day.